morning, everyone. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is Friday, May 15th, 2026. We have a ton to get to here today. There's a lot. NFL schedule release was out yesterday. So there's a lot to talk about that. When we would discuss that throughout this week. I expect to do more NFL schedule. I expect to talk about more NFL schedule release. All right, let's get started here. All right, NFL schedule release began last night at 8 o'clock Eastern. So before I do the biggest winners and losers, the top 5 biggest winners and losers of the NFL schedule release, let's take a look. We're going to take a look at the week one, the entire week one schedule. It starts from September 9th through September 14th, which is week one schedule. So we'll find out these games are so important for other games that we want to watch. So we're going to start. Let's start this week one thing in their schedule. So we can start this NFL thing. So let's see how that's going to go here. All right, week one begins September 9th. September 9th. That's when week 9 starts. So first matchup on September 9th, it would be the Super Bowl rematch. It would be New England Patriots will travel to the Seattle Seahawks at 8:20 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. And then Thursday, in Melbourne, Australia, it'll be the 49ers taking on the Rams. Rams will be a designated home team. Kickoff begins at 8:35 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. Then our first Sunday is September 13th. CBS and Fox will have a doubleheader. So here's the CBS early games. It'll be the Buffalo Bills take on the Houston Texans. And then you got the Baltimore Ravens take on the Indianapolis Colts. You got the New York Jets taking on the Tennessee Titans. Then you got the Cleveland Browns take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's the CBS early window. Here's the Fox early window. It will be the New Orleans Saints take on Detroit Lions. It will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Cincinnati Bengals. It will be the Chicago Bears will travel to the Carolina Panthers. And then it will be Atlanta Falcons take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the Fox early games. Here's the CBS late games. NFC North matchup, it will be the Green Bay Packers take on the Minnesota Vikings. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals travel to the Los Angeles Chargers. Fox has a late window as well. It'll be the Washington Commanders travel to the Philadelphia Eagles, 4:25 Eastern. And then you got the Miami Dolphins take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Potential Fernando Mendoza NFL debut. So it depends on the week one starter. And then first Sunday night football of the season, it will be the Cowboys take on the Giants at 8:20 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. On September 14th, the first Monday night football of the season, it'll be the Denver Broncos take on the Kansas City Chiefs at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and ABC and ESPN2. ESPN2 is the Manning cast, Peyton Eli. So those are the week one schedules from September 9th through September 14th. So So here's my question right now. Which games that I'm gonna like this in week one? Top 5 best games of week one. Number 1 is the Patriots and Seahawks Super Bowl rematch. Number 2, 49ers and the Rams. Number 3, I like the Packers and the Vikings. And I like the Bills and the Texans. And I like Bears and the Panthers. I like Bears-Panthers in this one, number 5. I'm going to take the top 5. And then number 6, Broncos and Chiefs, if Mahomes comes back in time. So that's the honorable mention. By the way, Denver and Kansas City is my honorable mention, best game of week one. One of the best games of week one. My top 5, like I said, Patriots, Seahawks, Super Bowl rematch. Number 2, 49ers, Rams. Number 3, Packers, Vikings. Number 4, Bills, Texans. And number 5, Bears, Panthers. So the reason why I chose the top 5 games of week one, the 49ers and the Rams matchup is going to be critical. Whoever wins this game has a better chance to be one of the best teams in the NFC in week one to start the season. You got the reigning MVP Matthew Stafford taking on Brock Purdy of the 49ers. I mean, this is going to be a nice football game. We have 2 prolific, high-power offenses in the NFL, 49ers and the Rams. Both Rams and Niners got some decent additions on defense this offseason. That's going to be the case here. My other games I want to see, Packers and the Vikings. We could see Kyler Murray making his Vikings debut. First start as a Viking. Vikings did have a winning record with a 9-8 record last year, but did not make the playoffs because of JJ McCarthy's ineffectiveness. That was and health issues. That's the reason why the Vikings did not make. Defense was not the problem last year. It's the quarterback situation's the quarterback play was inconsistent at best last season. So they add Kyler Murray to make sure he can make sure that JJ McCarthy can learn from Kyler Murray and gets his opportunity. There's still going to be competition in Minnesota. There's no doubt about it. But I think Kyler Murray should be a starter. The way he handles the pressure consistently at under center. The other team I'm going to throw out is the other matchup I'm about to throw out. It's the Bills and Texans. It'll be Josh Allen versus C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, by the way, he is 2-0 against Josh Allen. Actually, I'm wrong. C.J. Stroud is 1-0 against Josh Allen. C.J. Stroud did not play against the Bills last year because he suffered a concussion protocol. Davis Mills got the start last year, and he won for C.J. Stroud over the Buffalo Bills in Week 12. Now C.J. Stroud will face Josh Allen for the second ever head-to-head matchup between Allen versus Stroud. Last time these two played each other was October 2024. I believe it was October. Let me check. Let me check. October 6, 2024. Texans beat the Bills 23-20 on a game-winning Kai Fairbairn field goal. The Bills' comeback attempt was short. So that was that. Josh Allen last season, good numbers once again, but came up short in the divisional round. against him. So if that's that, then it's a different story. So that's number 4. Number 5 is the Bears and the Panthers. You got Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young. They're 2 number 1 picks in the NFL in each of the last 3 seasons for squaring off. Bryce Young, the last two years, the last two number 1 picks of 2023 and 2024. Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young. This will be the first head-to-head matchup between Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young. It could have been 2 years ago, Caleb Williams versus Bryce Young, but Andy Dalton got the start, if I'm correct. Who got the start for the Panthers? Yep, it was Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton got the start against the Bears on October 6th. Bryce Young did play against the Bears. He appeared. He made an appearance. So that does not count as a record for Bryce Young. So this will be the first ever head-to-head matchup against former number 1 picks in each of the last 2 years. It'll be Caleb Williams, of the number 1 pick of the 2024 draft of the Chicago Bears, will take on the number 1 pick of the 2023 draft, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Both teams come off their division winners last year. Bears 11-6, lost the divisional round to the Rams. Same as the Panthers. They won a division, but they had a losing record with an 8-9 record. Also lost the heartbreaker to the Rams in the NFC wildcard game. Bears lost to the Rams in the divisional round. The Rams were clearly the experienced team against it. The Rams were experienced. The Bears and Panthers weren't. But the Bears and the Panthers, I believe these two will meet each other in the playoffs. I think this matchup, Bears defense has gotten better. The Panthers defense is going to be strong, no doubt about it. Dave Canales entering his 3rd season as Panthers head coach. Ben Johnson, his 2nd season as Bears head coach. How about Ben Johnson versus Dave Canales? First ever head-to-head matchup between coach versus coach. Canales versus Johnson. Both are offensive-minded coaches. Dave Canales and Ben Johnson. Dave Canales came from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator a few years back. Ben Johnson came from the Lions offensive coordinator a couple of years ago before he left for the Bears job. Aaron Glenn left for the New York Jets' job as a head coach when he was a former Lions defensive coordinator. So it's really tough to see that at this point on. But we've been talking about this every day. And you can say all that of your schedule. So we will see how this is going to be. Honorable mention schedule is the Broncos and the Chiefs. Week 1 in Kansas City on September 14th. Bo Nix and Patrick Mahomes both suffered their season-ending injuries. Bo Nix suffered a season-ending injury with an ankle, I believe, in the divisional round. Patrick Mahomes suffered a season-ending injury in Week 15 in last year's regular season. So, both Knicks expect to be back in time, same as Patrick Mahomes. So, hopefully, these two will sort it out to begin the season. By the way, Broncos and Chiefs will see each other twice through the first 8 weeks of the season. Broncos will play the Chiefs in Kansas City in week 1. Broncos will play the Chiefs in Denver in week 8. So some ahead of schedule. The Broncos are clearly ahead of schedule to start the season, including against their own division opponents. So it's tough to see when your schedule comes around. It's not that big deal you want to see right now. For Patrick Mahomes, when he gets healthy, he can be dangerous. But I don't think numbers is going to be wow you at this own time. And we will prove this in this one here. All right, so we're going to move on from the week 1 schedule. We're going to talk about who are the biggest winners of the NFL schedule release. Top 5. It's not just about strength of schedule. So here are the best winners. The biggest winner is the Patriots and the Seahawks Super Bowl rematch in week 1. And definitely this is the biggest winner. Because it feels like the rematch that I like. So you got to give the schedule operators a lot of credit. If you put Patriots and Seahawks in week 1 to start the season in Seattle, I think that was a great idea. It is a good idea. Because there's a better chance that the higher chances against the Bears, but the Patriots and the Seahawks Super Bowl rematch to start the season, that actually makes sense. Because of that, and this is what number 2 is it's a close call. Number 2, it's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. They should have been number 1, but number 2 is Los Angeles Rams. The Rams will get 7 primetime games. The Los Angeles Rams will have 7 primetime games, including Christmas night against the Seahawks and Thanksgiving Eve against the Packers. So they'll have a handful of Thursday night football, Monday night, Sunday night. So Rams have 7 primetime games. The second biggest winner of the schedule release is the Los Angeles Rams. The third biggest winner, interesting, Los Angeles Chargers. NorCal versus SoCal. The Chargers faces the 49ers in Week 15 on Thursday Night Football in Inglewood, California. So I think the Chargers will have to see how this is going to work out for the best. Number 4 is the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans gets their fourth biggest winner. You only go one West Coast schedule. It's against the Raiders, Week 16. It could be Cam Ward versus Fernando Mendoza. The last 2 number 1 picks will square off. And their bye week is Week 9. I think Tennessee Titans might surprise some people. They can beat some teams. They shouldn't beat. They should beat the Colts. They should beat the Texans. Maybe the Jaguars. If you could win, if you go 4-4 after 8 weeks, that's impressive. If Titans go 4-4 or better through 8 weeks, I'm buying the Tennessee Titans to get into the playoffs and maybe winning the AFC South. because Jacksonville expectations high, Houston same thing, Indianapolis partially high, but not really high, partially high. There's some certain teams you should beat, but the Colts are going to face some challenges. But the Tennessee Titans is the one, could be the fourth biggest winner. Number 5, it's a tie. It's a 3-way tie. Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, and San Francisco 49ers are tied for the 5th best, biggest winners in the NFL. Let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles will kick off the season against the last place Washington Commanders. But the bad news is they're going to bring Jaden Daniels back for Washington. So if Philadelphia is underestimated, if Philadelphia wants to request a 3-peat NFC East champion, they got to beat some teams you should beat, especially in your own division. Dallas, they're not going to make Philadelphia easy. The toughest opponent in your own division is the Dallas Cowboys, not the Giants and not the Commanders. The Cowboys games, you're going to face the Cowboys twice. We all know that. Washington, same thing. And the Giants. So, some teams are a new look. And the Eagles had a first-place schedule. And then it gets twice as tougher. They got to play Philadelphia. They got to play Seattle at home. They got to go to San Francisco in Week 17 in a wild card rematch from last year. This is really crucial for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then meanwhile for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they had a favorable schedule here in the early going. They'll play the Raiders in Week 4 in Las Vegas. They're going to play the Chargers. Chargers beat the Chiefs twice last year. The Chiefs went 1-5 against their own division last year. The only win, it was against the Raiders in Week 7 in Kansas City. That's it. That was about it. They lost their last several. Patrick Mahomes did not play any of those remaining games last year's regular season. It's not only due to missing the postseason, it's due to an ACL surgery for Mahomes. And then finally, the San Francisco 49ers. They'll start the season tough, but they have an even workable, favorable schedule in the next several weeks. But the Broncos game is tough. So the 49ers' strength of schedule is around middle of the pack, something like that. Now, the Raiders do have some easier schedule, like Miami, Arizona, Washington, Atlanta, the Raiders, and then it gets tougher down the stretch. After Week 9, they got to play Minnesota and Mexico City. They got to play Dallas. They got to play Seattle. They got to play the Giants. Oh, they can easily beat the Giants in New York. Then the Rams gets tough. Chargers gets tough. Kansas City may get tougher than Philadelphia. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how the 49ers schedule will look like in this one here. Who are the biggest losers of the NFL schedule release? So I'm going to throw out some teams. The biggest losers is the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears have the hardest schedule in the NFL. Hardest strength of schedule. The biggest loser is the Chicago Bears. Even though this team got into the postseason last year, look at the schedule. Look at this. They got to play the Panthers in Week 1 on the road. And then they got to play the Lions. And they got to play the Eagles in Week 3 at home. They got to play the Lions twice, including Thanksgiving in Detroit. And then they got to play the Patriots. They got to play the Packers twice. They got to play Minnesota twice. They got to play the Buffalo Bills in Week 15, a primetime game. Man, this is tough. The biggest loser of the schedule is the Chicago Bears. The final month of the season is against your own rivals, Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay. You're going to end the season against Minnesota in Minnesota. So if you impact your schedule, and if this isn't the case, then that's an issue. That's an issue right now. This will be the toughest 7-game stretch Actually, this will be a tough stretch for the Bears. The other biggest loser I want to throw out is their primetime shutouts. The Jets, the Raiders, Tennessee Titans, and Arizona Cardinals will not be in a primetime game this season. The biggest disappointing is the Tennessee Titans. They will not get their schedule. The teams will not have primetime games this season. It's the Raiders, Cardinals, Jets, and the Titans. No primetime games for undermanned teams. That's understandable because the other biggest loser I'm about to throw out is the top four worst teams in the NFL will not get a primetime game. That's a big problem. The third biggest loser is the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have the second hardest schedule in the NFL. They travel the 6th most miles in the NFL. Miami will get some primetime games, but not a whole lot because of that in this one. Number 4, the biggest loser of the schedule is the Week 8 matchup between the Ravens at Bills. The fourth biggest loser is the Ravens and the Bills in Week 8 game. That's the fourth biggest loser. It should have been on Monday Night Football. It should have been 4:25 Eastern on CBS, or it should have been Sunday Night Football again. The game was, but instead, CBS will have a 1 Eastern game between the Ravens at the Bills. Because we have a young coach of Baltimore, and we have young coaches, Jesse Minter of the Ravens and Joe Brady of the Bills. That was the reason why they should not be a 4:25 Eastern game or a primetime game. Other games, they selected 1 Eastern, even though both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen both won their league MVPs. But they decided to schedule an early game. I just don't like it. It should have been either a primetime game. It should have been Thursday night, Sunday night, or Monday night, or 4:25 Eastern game right here on CBS. I don't like that. I don't like that schedule that much. Then number 5, biggest loser of the schedule. Who would I like the 5th biggest loser in the NFL, as far as I'm concerned? I'm going to say this. The 5th biggest loser in the NFL is the Week 12 between the Chiefs and the Bills. That's the 5th biggest loser, because Fox slotted a doubleheader. And the other biggest loser that I honorable mention is the Chiefs and the Bengals. They slotted on Fox in Week 14. And neither of these games between the Chiefs and the Bengals in Week 14, nor Chiefs at Bills on CBS. They already done their flagships in several games, either in the regular season or in the playoffs. Chiefs and Bengals slotted on Fox at 4:25 Eastern in Week 14, while the Rams will travel to 49ers in Los Angeles. Not in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, my bad, in San Francisco. Niners will be home this time. So this the top five biggest for the reason why the biggest losers between the Chiefs and the Bills, that should have been on CBS, but the Fox slotted Week 12. Chiefs and Bills on NBC at 8:20 Eastern on November 26th. But the Fox has a doubleheader in Week 12. The CBS doesn't. That doesn't make any sense, because CBS will have more doubleheaders through the first several weeks. It's just the biggest reason why they should bring it. They should bring this back in this one here. Okay, so we're gonna go. So since the NFL schedule release is out, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna talk more about NFL schedule release. Actually, when we come back, we'll talk some more NFL record predictions, league leaders in categories, and playoff matchups from wild card to Super Bowl, and then NFL awards for 2026-27 season predictions. I'll break this all down, and also coming up next, I'll talk NBA Game 6. There's 2 Game 6 in action today, live from Cleveland and Minneapolis. San Antonio has a 3-2 series controls in the West semis. East semis has Cleveland in control 3-2 over Detroit. So San Antonio and Cleveland will try to close out tonight. We'll see how that goes. And then Cowboys try to revive their Super Bowl. They haven't made it for decades. So we'll break this all down after this. Welcome back to the JDB's Morning Cap. We talk about the NFL schedule release, the biggest winners and biggest losers, and Week 1 schedule. We already checked off. Now, we'll talk more NFL schedule. But let's move on from that. Let's talk about NFL record predictions, awards, league leaders. I'm going to start with the league leaders first, the hardest. I'm going to start the hard part first, the league leaders, potential league leaders. I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. Who will lead the league in passing touchdowns, completion percentage, and passing yards? Let's start with the completion percentage. Who will lead the NFL in completion percentage? Josh Allen will be number 1. Josh Allen will lead the league in completion percentage with a 67.6% completion rate. Passing yards. I'm gonna go to passing yards. I'm gonna go to Joe Burrow. I'm gonna go 6,378 passing yards for Joe Burrow, and then most passing touchdowns. I'm gonna go with Dak Prescott with 43 passing touchdowns. Most interceptions thrown. This is close. I'm going to go with Geno Smith. Geno Smith will have 19 interceptions. Geno Smith will have 19 interceptions. I believe last year He's top 5 in most interceptions thrown in the NFL. Who will lead the NFL in sacks allowed? Joe Burrow with 57. Joe Burrow will be sacked 57 times. Passer rating, best passer rating in the NFL, Lamar Jackson, 92.6 passer rating. Best QB rating, Josh Allen, 84.6. All right, so rushing numbers. Who will lead the NFL in rushing yards? Saquon Barkley will lead the NFL with 2,233 rushing yards. How about most rushing touchdowns? I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs will have most rushing touchdowns with 13. Yards per carry leaders potential. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey, 4.9 yards a carry. Receiving yards. Who will lead the NFL with most receptions? Justin Jefferson will have 152 receptions. Who will lead the NFL in receiving yards? Jamar Chase, 2,287. Who will lead the NFL receiving touchdowns? Same thing, Jamar Chase with 12. So we'll see how that feels like here. Let's go on the defensive side of the ball. Who will lead the NFL in tackles? Rick Woolen of the Philadelphia Eagles will lead the NFL in tackles. Tackles for a loss. Who will lead the NFL in tackles for a loss? Max Crosby of the Raiders. Max Crosby will have 29 tackles. They'll have 48 tackles for a loss. Rick Woolen will have 97 tackles. That will be the most in the NFL. How about sacks? Myles Garrett will have 18.5 sacks. He'll lead the league in sacks once again. Interceptions on defense. I'm going to go with Patrick Surtain II for the Denver Broncos with 9. Forced fumbles. Fred Warner, if he comes back, Fred Warner will lead the NFL with 6 forced fumbles. Most fumble recoveries, I'm going to go with 8. I'm going to go with this surprised some people. Most fumble recoveries. George Karlaftis from the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll lead the NFL with 8 fumble recoveries, including 3 returning for a touchdown. So that will be that. That's my my predictions, NFL leaders. How about NFL predictions as far as record? We'll go from the AFC East to the NFC West. We'll go from worst to first. How's that? Let's start with the AFC East. Let's start number 4. Number 4 is the Miami Dolphins. My prediction record is 3-14. The Miami Dolphins, they signed Malik Willis and they hired Jeff Hafley as head coach, but this team is really young. So I think the Dolphins will go 3-14. Number 3 is the New York Jets. They're going to win one more game. They're going to go 4-13. I think the Jets team is progressing. They add some guys in the draft. David Bailey was the number 2 pick of the Jets draft. They did brought Geno Smith back where he drafted in 2013 from West Virginia. But I just don't like the team. This team will be better. Jets will get a little bit more interceptions. I think defense will be better, but the offense still stinks. I think Jets will go 4-13. Number 2 is the New England Patriots. The Patriots will be 10-7. Yeah, I understand they come off a magical season last year. They came up short in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks last year. But this year expectations were high, but there's some games they should have won. There's certain games you should have won the game. So New England's schedule will be tested for the Patriots, but I'm going to go 10-7 for New England. And then number 1 in their division is the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have won at least 12 games in each of their last couple of years. So for the Patriots, the record, I'm going to go 12-5 as well. The Bills will go 12-5. They're still, and this time they're going to win this division. I think the Bills can beat the Patriots one of the next 2 games. Josh Allen, those are the meaningful games that you're gonna play with. And then here's the AFC North. Number 4 is the Cleveland Browns. Browns will finish the season 4-13 as well. I do love Shedeur Sanders, but this offense is bad. But the defense is really good, but the Browns' overall team is not good. They're gonna be 4-13. And last place in the AFC North. Number 3 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers will go 9-8. Even I don't care if they have Aaron Rodgers or not. The Steelers will go 9-8. And I'm not sure this is enough for a postseason for Pittsburgh. TJ Watt's great. We all know that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't like the consistent offense. Number 2 is the Cincinnati Bengals, 11-6. The Bengals will go 11-6. The Bengals try Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow's healthy, this team is dangerous. But I like Bengals' 11-6 record and a number 2 in the AFC North division. But the question is, can the defense get better if the Bengals want to get into the postseason? And the best record in the North Division, the AFC, number 1 is the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens will finish the season the same record as Cincinnati, 11-6. So the Ravens will beat the Bengals at least one out of the 2 games. If you could beat the Steelers and the Browns several times, then division record will be edged to Baltimore. Now Lamar Jackson. Expectations have actually been high, even they have a young coach, Jesse Minter, but the record's going to be 11-6. They can still win division despite they had not exceeded its expectations. AFC South, oh boy. Number 5 is the Tennessee Titans, 7-10. Titans will be 7-10, which is better. Cam Ward, I think Titans are growing consistency. But the discipline is going to be an issue for Tennessee. But the overall team, I think they'll be much better. This is a much better group. Roster, not great, but they can They can surprise some people. But Tennessee will go 7-10, and they'll still be last place in the AFC South. Number 3, it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts with an 8-9 record. The Colts will go 8-9 once again. I love Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones may regress this season because of that, because he come off of the injury and all that stuff. But the Colts are going to go 8-9. Number 2 is the Jacksonville Jaguars with a 9-8 record. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the biggest one is they got to figure things out. Ryan Cohen's coaching success is a bit of a regression. It's going to be a bit of a regression of Trevor Lawrence. And if the Jaguars doesn't make the playoffs, then the future will go against Trevor Lawrence. So I picked Jacksonville at 9-8. Number 1 is the Houston Texans. Texans will regain control of the AFC South division. They won 12 games last year. I think Texans will be even better. They're going to be 13-4. The Texans will go 13-4. I think Texans defense is going to be even stronger. C.J. Stroud will be better. So Texans will go 13-4 in 2026-27 season. AFC West. Number 4 is the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders will finish 4-13. Actually, the Raiders will finish 5-12. Raiders will finish 5-12. Last year, 3-13. This year, they're going to be 5-12. The first several weeks of the season, the Raiders will not win any of these games. And then the next several stretches, the Raiders will win the 5 of the next. The Raiders will be 500 the rest of the season. So if they can start 0-7 and then end the season at 5-5, that's development. So I like the Raiders to go 5-12 because the quarterback situation of Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza are vital, because offense is not going to be good. We all know that. The offensive line has been inconsistent. Ashton Jeanty will break out. He'll have a solid sophomore season. The Raiders' defense is young, so the Raiders team will go 5-12 in this one here. The AFC West, number 3. Number 3 is going to be the Denver Broncos. They're going to go 11-6. The Broncos will go 11-6. I think Bo Nix's numbers may not be great, but the defense is going to be strong still. But I think Broncos will go 11-6 and still managing making the postseason. Number 2 is the Los Angeles Chargers, 12-5. Not yet to win division yet. They got one more game to beat the Chiefs. They did beat the Chiefs twice last year, but this season is going to be somewhat challenging. But this time they will win one more game. Then they had the same record the last couple of years, 11-6. Under Jim Harbaugh, they'll go 12-5. And number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs. They will finish the season 13-4. They got one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, 13-4. Patrick Mahomes may not be the same, but they're going to win games when it's necessary. I like the Chiefs to go 13-4 on the season. So that was that. So if this is the case right now, how about the NFC? Let's start with the NFC East. Number 4 is this is close. Do I like the Giants to be last place or the Commanders? I'm going to go with Washington Commanders for the 6-11 record. Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback, but the defense is still not going to be good. I picked the Commanders 6-11. Number 3, the New York Giants. I'm going to go with 6-11 as well. Jackson Start's going to be having a solid sophomore season, but the defense will progress consistently. But the overall record is 6-11 for the Giants. I just don't see New York Giants to be in the playoff mountain just yet. Number 2, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, number 2, I'm incorrect. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles will go 10-7. The Philadelphia Eagles, it's going to be a challenging season. However, there are showing signs of success down the stretch of the season. So Philadelphia will go 10-7. And number 1 is the Dallas Cowboys. They will go 12-5. I think Cowboys are going to win crucial games late in the season, and they're going to beat some easier teams. If you beat some good teams down the stretch, I think they have a pretty darn good chance to win the NFC East in this one here. Meanwhile, the NFC North, the toughest division in football. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. The Bears will end the season 6-11. Right? No, Bears will end the season 5-12. I think the Bears season is going to be salt in the water because the injuries will be piling up. The offense might be regressed. Ben Johnson, play call will be regressed. But the Chicago Bears will go 5-12. I just don't see Chicago getting in to the postseason. Number 3 is going to be the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers will finish 9-8. The Green Bay Packers has several opportunities to work with, but Green Bay is not going to be in for sure. Number 2 is the Minnesota Vikings, 10-7. Minnesota will go 10-7 because of that. I think Minnesota's quarterback situation is going to be tough. And then Detroit Lions will go 13-4. Detroit Lions will go 13-4. They'll win division. The NFC South, number 4 would be, this is tough. Number 4 is going to be Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons will go 5-12. The quarterback situation has not been great in Atlanta. Tagovailoa and Penix, Falcons team, this team is going to be sloppy. They're going to go 5-12. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers will also go 5-12. Baker Mayfield, numbers maybe regress. The Buccaneers will go 5-12. And then number 2 is the New Orleans Saints, 8-9. Saints are this close to getting into the playoffs. It's just because of that. And then number 1 is the Carolina Panthers with a 10-7 record. They will win division. They'll be better this year than the previous year. Then the NFC West, number 4 is the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to go 2-15. The Cardinals will go 2-15 in the regular season. They don't have a quarterback right now. Even though they drafted Jeremiah Love, they just don't have a quarterback. Number 3 will be the San Francisco 49ers with 11-6 record. I think they'll be that. Number 2 is the Seattle Seahawks, 11-6 record as well. And then number 1 is the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams will go 14-3. They'll have the best record in the NFL. That's for sure. Despite the tough games down the stretch, I think the Rams will be still playing their best football, if that's going to be the case. All right, my playoff picture of the AFC. Number 1 is the Chiefs. Number 2 is the Texans. Number 3 is the Buffalo Bills. Number 4 is the Baltimore Ravens. That's the division winners. Wild cards. First wild card. Is the Chargers. Second wild card is the Bengals. Third wild card is the Broncos. That's my wild card teams. The NFC side, number 1 is the Rams. Number 2 is Detroit Lions. Number 3 is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, Carolina Panthers. That's my division winners. The wild card teams are Seattle, the Rams, right? No, Seattle, San Francisco, and Philadelphia are my playoff teams. So Chiefs and Rams will have their first round byes. So here's how it's going to work. 4 division winners in each conference, 3 wildcard teams in each conference, 7 teams in the playoffs in each conference. 14 teams are in the playoffs, 7 by each conference. So here are my wildcard round predictions. Let's start with the AFC side. Number 7 has the Broncos. Number 2, the Texans. Number 6, Bengals take on number 3, Buffalo Bills. And then you got number 5, Chargers take on number 4, Baltimore Ravens. For the NFC side, I got number 7, Philadelphia Eagles take on number 2, Detroit Lions. That's going to be a very good one. And I got number 6, 49ers take on number 3, Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be a rivalry. And then you got number 5, Seahawks take on number 4, Panthers. So here we go. All right, so wild card round. AFC, I like Houston over Denver in the wild card round. 7 versus 2 matchup. I like Bills beating the Bengals in the 6 versus 3 matchup in Buffalo. Then I like Ravens beating the Chargers 5 versus 4 matchup. For the NFC side, I like Lions beating the Eagles 2 versus 7 matchup in Detroit. And I like Cowboys beating the 49ers a 6 versus 3 matchup in Dallas. And I like Seahawks beating the Panthers 5 versus 4 matchup in Carolina. So how's this going to work? Texas will get another home game. And this time, they're going to face the Buffalo Bills. Divisional round matchups will be Bills at Texans, Ravens at Chiefs. The NFC gets Lions will get another home game. It will be Cowboys at the Lions. That would be a good one. And then you got the Seahawks and the Rams. So my divisional round winners for the AFC side, I got Buffalo and Kansas City. And then for the NFC side, I got the Rams and the Lions. Then the AFC Championship game, I like the Chiefs and the Bills. The winner is the Buffalo Bills. The Lions and the Rams, I like the Rams winning the NFC over Detroit. It would be Bills and Rams. In the Super Bowl, my Super Bowl winner is Los Angeles Rams. And the Super Bowl MVP would be Matthew Stafford. That's how it's going to go. That's how it's going to go here. All right, NFL award predictions. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie, Offensive Rookies of the Year, and Coach of the Year, and Offensive Player of the Year, by the way. So how about this? Let's start off with the Coach of the Year. Who will be the Coach of the Year in 2026? I'm gonna go with Joe. I'm gonna go with Dave Canales of the Carolina Panthers. This team had won 10 games. This team's gonna win 10 games this year. I like Dave Canales winning the Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year. My Offensive Player of the Year is Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals. Defensive Rookie of the Year, David Bailey of the New York Jets. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love of the Arizona Cardinals. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Once again, Myles Garrett. And then Comeback Player of the Year is in question. Comeback Player of the Year is going to be Comeback Player of the Year is going to be this is going to be surprise some people. The Comeback Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray winning the Comeback Player of the Year. And then most valuable player, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. Josh Allen will win the MVP. Because of all of that, he'll put up huge numbers once again. All right. We reach over an hour in this show. I've been talking the NFL for the entire hour. Come up next, I will preview a couple of NBA games. Tonight it's Game 6. And then I'll talk the Cowboys, try to get back to the Super Bowl. They have not done that for decades. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. All right, tonight it's Game 6 of the respective Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. It'll be Detroit Pistons will travel against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers has a series lead 3-2. Cavaliers come off a 117-113 overtime victory in Detroit in Game 5 a couple of nights ago. Cavaliers had a chance to close out with a win here tonight. If the Cavs win tonight, they will face the Knicks on Sunday in New York for the Eastern Conference Finals. If Detroit wins tonight, it will be Game 7 back in Detroit on Sunday. So here's the question. How Detroit Pistons could keep their magical season alive? Well, this is it. It's a do-or-die game tonight. So this is Game 6 of the best of 7 East semis. Game 6, you're down 3-2. You've done this before. You were down 3-1. You came back and won the series against Orlando this past round. And now you're down 3-2. The Pistons, by the way, they're 3-0 in elimination games this season. The Pistons have won 4 of their last 5 elimination games dating back to last year. The only loss was against the Knicks in Game 6 in last year's first round. They have won 4 of their last 5 elimination games under JDB Bickerstaff. So Detroit is 1-3 away from the Little Caesars Arena. Detroit's 5-2 at home in the playoffs. It's not that bad, but on the road, just 1-3. Pistons just need to win. Cade Cunningham is the most important player. It's got to be key to get going. Most important player in Game 6 is Jalen Duren. He needs to get going on both ends of the floor if they want to keep this series, keep their magical season alive. It has not been an easy postseason for Detroit, but they have grinded out. So they have grinded out victories after victories after victories. They need to do that here. Meanwhile, for the Cavaliers, this is a clinching opportunity here in front of your home fans. The Cavaliers are 1-1 in clinching opportunities in the playoffs. Cavaliers are 6-0 at home in this playoffs. They got a chance to win it. Donovan Mitchell had a rough Game 5, but they still managed to win the game. Max Strus had a very good series. But who's the most important player to close out this series in Game 6? It's Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley's got to be the most important player in Game 6 if they want to close this series out. So if that's the case, then it's going to be a different story in this one. Like I said, if Cleveland Cavaliers win tonight, then Eastern Conference Finals will start this Sunday in New York City on Sunday afternoon. If the Detroit wins tonight, then Game 7 will be back in Detroit, which means the Eastern Conference Finals will be pushed back to Tuesday once again. So, really keep that in mind. Who do I like to win Game 6, Cleveland or Detroit? Detroit runs out of gas. I like Cleveland winning tonight. I think they'll close out tonight in front of their home fans. I'll be surprised if Detroit comes through tonight. If they do, Game 7 will be Sunday back in Detroit if Detroit comes through here on the road. They did that 3 weeks ago, winning Game 6 on the road when trailing 3-2. So hopefully they'll get a similar results here tonight. All right, let's switch gears. Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals. The Spurs and the Timberwolves will be squared off in Minneapolis. Spurs with a blowout Game 5 win in San Antonio to take the 3-2 series lead. Now, if the Spurs win tonight, they will face the Thunder on Monday night in the Eastern Conference Finals. If the Wolves win tonight, then there will be Game 7 back in San Antonio on Sunday night. So there's a lot going on in this one here. So here's my question. Who's the most important player for the Timberwolves to force a Game 7 if they win tonight? It's Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is the most important player. And Julius Randle are the two main guys. Has to perform at a high level. Anthony, it can't be a one-dimensional player. It can't be Anthony Edwards. You cannot rely on a one-dimensional player, Anthony Edwards. You have to somebody has to come through with Minnesota. For Minnesota, it's Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle. If these three can get going tonight, this team will have a chance to force a Game 7 back in San Antonio on Sunday night. This is a critical Game 6. Chris Finch is 4-4 in elimination games. Chris Finch is 4-4 in elimination games in his career. So you have to keep yourself in mind. The best case scenario is to get to this point right now. And hopefully that will be this one here. Who's the most important player for the Spurs to close it out? It's Devin Vassell. It's Keldon Johnson again. Keldon Johnson's got to be critical if they want to take this series by storms in this one here, if that's going to be the case. Who would like to win in Game 6? Spurs or Minnesota? I like Minnesota winning Game 6 to force a Game 7 back in San Antonio on Sunday. Keep that in mind. If San Antonio wins tonight, they will face the Thunder on Monday. If the Wolves win tonight, Game 7 will be back in San Antonio on Sunday. So when we come back, we'll talk about the Cowboys' potential Super Bowl revive. It's coming up right after this. Welcome back here to JDB's Morning Cap. Now just a final segment of this show. Let's talk about Dallas Cowboys real quick with their schedule. Here's my question. Should the Cowboys revive? Can the Cowboys revive to the Super Bowl bound in 2026? The answer is no. They should. Well, the Cowboys will make the playoffs, but the Cowboys are just ready to revive their Super Bowl redemption. They haven't reached the Super Bowl for over 4 decades. They haven't done that. The Cowboys have struggled with their roster talent consistency. That's a bit of a surprise. Now, with their schedule coming out, and that's the case right now, you don't need any these type of projections. You're going to look like what you're looking for. You're looking for everybody. What's in store. But that's not even the case. But even the worst case scenario, you can put yourself in prime position to get into the postseason. But the Cowboys, if you want a Super Bowl redemption, you got to beat some good teams. You got to beat some good teams, if that's the case. This will make a path a whole lot easier. So the Cowboys wouldn't revive it into the Super Bowl redemption just yet. They got one more year. All right, let's close out. What's coming up on tomorrow's JDB's Morning Cap? But not tomorrow. What's coming up on Monday's JDB's Morning Cap? What's coming up on Monday? We'll recap semifinals or otherwise, because the conference finals could expect to start on Sunday. So I'm gonna keep their fingers crossed here. Will it be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals or Game 7 of the Eastern Conference will it be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals or Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals? And then I could recap either Game 6 or Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals. So there's a lot going on here. And then I'll talk NFL revenge games. I'm sorry I didn't get to do that today because I was really busy. But other than that, because I got to make reference for some other people, so that was the reason why I was busy. But I had to start the show late because that's the reason why I started this show late. And this one, I'll start the show a little bit more earlier next on Monday. So there's a lot going on. So it should be good for this one here. All right, that's it. This is JDB's Morning Cap. I hope you have a nice, fantastic weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.